Hey guys, I'm Amanda Healy, and I'm so excited to be with you live from my home. Usually I would be in person with you all, so I'm sad to say I'm not, but it's great to be here virtually with you all from Boston. So today I will be teaching a class on personal branding and LinkedIn. In my eyes, LinkedIn is the ultimate platform for building your personal brand. But before we get into that live demo of the platform, I'm going to cover off on personal branding 101. What is it? Why is it important? How can I start to build mine today or evolve it from where it's been? And so let me share my screen. I'm going to not bore you by death by PowerPoint, I promise. It's just a few slides, and then we'll get into the best part of the session, which is a live demo using my own LinkedIn profile as a live example for you. What I would encourage you is, if you have a LinkedIn profile, pull that up on another tab, maybe even on your phone. There will be some action items that you can take instantly within this session to optimize your LinkedIn profile. All right. Alrighty, so here's what we're going to go through: a little bit of housekeeping, personal branding 101, as I mentioned, the what, the why, the how to take your personal brand online using a platform like LinkedIn. I'm going to show you the top 5 most viewed areas of your profile. And then throughout the session, usually if I'm in person, I call it the Kanye West format, meaning I love when people interrupt me in person and ask their question as it pops into their head. Because unfortunately, we're not together today, what I would ask of you is, if you have a question at any time, just pop it into the Q&A. I won't be able to see it until the very end, where I'll start to queue up those questions, but I don't want you to forget them as they come up. So just enter it into the Q&A. We'll be collecting those, and then we'll go through as many as possible, time permitting. Otherwise, I've put my Twitter handle at the bottom of the screen, as well as my email address. I geek out so hard when you guys live tweet me or live post me. So if you find something of value, please tweet it, take a screenshot, ask a question through Twitter. I read every single notification coming out of this session, and I can help you there. And then of course you can reach me via email as well. So the session's being recorded. We're all at home right now, so if you have to jump, take care of something, an errand, whatever, you will receive the recording. I already talked about how I geek out when you live tweet me. Ask those questions when they come in. And then if you need more help at the end of this session, I actually have a partner who helps write your LinkedIn profile for you. So I'll show you that service as well. And I speak for companies all the time as well and lead employee development workshops. So if you find this valuable today, you want to bring me into your company or group, hit me up through email and we'll make that work as well. So I'm not going to spend too much time on my about me. A lot of you might know me because I travel with this conference and I speak at all of the conferences around the country, such as the Watermark Conference for Women, Massachusetts Conference for Women, Pennsylvania Conference for Women, etc. But by day, I actually need to update this because I'm taking on a new role at Cisco. I'm leading our brand marketing team, but I'm also leading our demand gen and digital marketing teams as well. And this is my passion. This is my side hustle, so to speak. I think many of you are familiar with that. I love teaching. I love helping. I teach across the whole spectrum of social media. And today, as I mentioned, we'll be focused on personal branding and LinkedIn. But I do teach on Twitter, Instagram, social selling, you name it. So let's get started. So good news, bad news. Really no bad news, because the good news is that the bad news is not so bad. The bad news is you're going to get a lot of homework items out of this session. The good news is those homework items are not only going to be easy to knock out, they're going to be really fun as well, and they will start to elevate your personal brand online. So I would keep, if you have a piece of paper near you or maybe just notes on your computer, keep a running list of these homework items, and I'll try to remind you of them as well as we go through, and I'll also help you make those homework items work for your schedule. So let's start with personal branding. What is it? Many of us are familiar with the show Shark Tank. And if you're not, it's, in a nutshell, a concept where a person or a group of people go in front of a set of investors and they're pitching a product or a service or a company for those investors, called the sharks, to invest their money or time or both into. I would like for you to envision that you are on Shark Tank. And it's just you. You're not with a partner or a group, and you're walking under the spotlight and the sharks are sitting at their tables in front of you. And the product that you are pitching is yourself. What would you say? How would you say that you stand out amongst the other competitors? How would you say you show up, and what are your strengths? What makes you unique? What would make me invest in you? Whether that's my time, my money, my energy. Start to think of yourself as a product, and the exercise of personal branding becomes a little bit easier. Your personal brand is a mix of who you are and who you've been and who you aim to be. It is a mix of your actual as well as your aspirational. It's the best version of yourself. And we're going to go through a few quick exercises or things to get you thinking about what your personal brand is if you are not super familiar with what you think it to be today. There's a few quotes I really like about personal branding. In today's digital world, your personal brand is how you are seen, understood, and evaluated based on the image you project, the content you create, and the messages that you convey. What I like about this particular quote is that it lets us know that our personal brand is not only how we see ourselves, it is how others see us as well. So I'm going to start with a few homework items. The very first one is this. I would like for you to schedule a meeting for yourself every single day for 15 or 20 minutes. And I would like you to call that something like personal branding time or me time even. And you can make the meeting private, whether it's on your Outlook calendar or your Gmail calendar. The reason I ask you to do this is because when that meeting reminder comes up on your laptop or on your smartphone or on your Fitbit or Apple Watch, you will be reminded that you need to take 15 minutes, just 15 minutes that day to focus on improving your brand. And the good news is I will be giving you many easy homework items that you can start to knock out in those 15 minutes a day. Chunk it up into pieces like this. Make it snack size. Because if you come out of this workshop and you have the whole list of homework items, you're going to look at it, you're going to say to yourself, okay, I'm going to do this in one day, and you're never going to do it. Instead, if you carve out those 15 minutes for yourself every single day, it becomes habitual, it becomes a part of who you are. And these tiny little tweaks over time will start to improve the way that others are seeing your brand. Next piece of homework related to that. And this could be your first piece of homework you knock out because it's really easy. Google yourself. Put your first name, last name into Google. You could even do it now if you so choose, and take a screenshot of what pops up. Is it your LinkedIn profile? Is it someone else's LinkedIn profile? Is there an article on a news outlet that you were in? Is there a dead Twitter account that you thought would be a good idea to start, but then you kind of fell off? What's popping up? Take a screenshot of that and put it into a Word doc. And then do the same for Google Images for your name. Maybe there's a picture that someone tagged of you and they have a public Facebook, so that's showing up. This quote really hits on the fact that how we are perceived is how we are seen. And for us in this day and age, many times people will quote unquote meet us online before they meet us in person. And they may not meet us in person at all, especially during a pandemic. So take an inventory of what people are seeing when they search for you. The reason I ask you to screenshot this is because the goal is to shape this how you want it to look, not how it looks today. In order to do that, we have to have an inventory of what it appears as today. And this is our best way to create an archive. The final reason I enjoy this quote is because it shows us that everything that we do online either adds to our personal brand or detracts from it. And I don't say that to scare you. I think that digital first impressions versus physical first impressions are even more powerful because we are able to shape them. It's us and us alone who are choosing our profile picture on LinkedIn, who are choosing the headline that we select, or even the comments that we write on someone's post, or the way we endorse another person. All of those things, digital never dies, for better or worse. So take an inventory of how you are showing up online today, and over time refine that as to how you would like to be showing up. I like this quote as well. With the development of social media and an increasingly individualized society, the brand you build around yourself is perhaps the single most important way to stand out. I could not agree more. Your personal brand is your weapon for standing out, not only in your professional life, but also in your personal life. When you think of the people that have made an impact on you, they have a strong brand. Whether it's a certain characteristic or a certain skill set that they are known for, they are memorable. They are impactful. Every single person who is tuning in today can have a powerful personal brand. You just have to center on what makes you you, what your strength is. And again, I will give you some really, I would say, key tools to doing that. I like this quote as well because it uses the word individualized. Our personal branding platforms are just that. The first word is personal. It is innate to us. I would recommend that you think of your social media channels as essentially media channels for your product, and your product is your personal brand. So what is your media strategy for LinkedIn? What is your media strategy for something like Twitter or Instagram? And you don't need to be everywhere at once. What I would recommend is choose the 1 to 2 social media channels that make the most sense for your objectives and reach the audience that you need to reach to make those objectives a reality. An example would be, start with your objective. Maybe it's, I don't know, to open a hair salon. And so who do you need to reach? Or maybe it's to drive traffic to your hair salon. Who do you need to reach to make that objective happen? Well, look at your target audience. Who are your customers? Who would you like to be your customers? What social media do they use most often? For your business, what type of content would you be creating? In this case, mostly visual content and video content. Okay, well then maybe it makes sense for you to double down on Instagram because that's a much more visual platform versus something like Twitter. So these are the marketing 101 questions that you have to apply to yourself as a brand, as a personal brand. What goals do you have? Who do you need to reach to make those goals a reality? And then double down on the 1 to 2 social media platforms that audience lives on. Okay, so just to recap in a nutshell, your personal brand in the simplest terms is a mix of how you see yourself and how others see you. I have a super homework item for you. This is not mandatory by any means, but it's a very, very powerful way to find out how others see you. And it's very quick and easy. You could put it as one of your 15-minute items. I would encourage you to create a Survey Monkey. It's a free survey tool, and create a personal branding survey. And it's really only going to be 3 to 4 questions. It's going to be very, very simple. First, what is the first word that you think of when you hear my name? What is the biggest strength that I have? What do I bring to the table that no one else does? And then finally, the 4th question, how do you know me? Friend, family, colleague, etc. The reason I ask to put in that question is because your family might have a very different perception of your brand than, say, a colleague. Let people know when you send out the survey. I would recommend, 10 to 15, 20. The more you can get, the better in most cases. I would let them know it's going to take 30 seconds of their time. You're doing it because you just took a personal branding workshop and you're looking to improve your brand. And it's completely anonymous, and set it up as anonymous. This will help you in so many ways, but it will help you to understand how others see you. And it will also help you understand your strengths, because sometimes our strengths are so innate to us that they are just like breathing. We do them every day. We exercise them every day. They don't feel like strengths to us. You might be very, very surprised what comes back in this survey. For me, I did this survey myself, and I found that the unrelenting winner was the word energy. And I had never thought of energy as a particular strength of mine. I never even thought that I had, a superfluous amount of energy or a positive energy, etc. And this just kept coming back and back and back. And so what was great about this is because now I can leverage it as part of my brand and leverage it as a differentiator. What I would also encourage is take the ego out of this. I know for some people, thinking of creating this survey sounds scary and oh my gosh, what's going to come back? Put your ego to the side. Whatever comes back, good, bad, otherwise, you can change that over time, but you cannot change it unless you know it. So again, I would really, really encourage you to do this. If you do it, please let me know. I would love to hear the results, love to help you through them, etc. But those that have taken me up on this have been pleasantly surprised and surprised in other ways too. And over time have been able to start to move their brand into a place where they want it, or leverage that strength in a much more powerful way. Okay, so why is this important? When you have a strong personal brand, you build trust and credibility. Think of the retail brands or the food and beverage brands that you absolutely love. You keep going back to them because you trust in that brand. They have credibility. You know that there's a certain quality there. Increasing your value, same kind of scenario as the retail or food and beverage brand. Because they're a brand name, we perceive a bigger value, enhanced value. The same goes for personal brands. Gaining confidence. When you have a strong hold on who you are and where you're going, you will naturally be more confident because your personal brand really focuses on your strengths. And when we exercise those strengths, there's been studies where 80 to 90% more likely to be successful in whatever our endeavor is versus focusing on our weaknesses or shortcomings. Differentiation. Immediately, we know if I'm coming to you as a person, this is what I'm going to get. This is the value that I'm going to get. And so we'll find that we'll keep going back to that person because they're a subject matter expert or they have a certain skill that enhances our lives as well. I love this one, giving yourself permission to be authentic. If COVID has taught us anything, we've now learned that our personal lives and our professional lives are blurring more and more each day. This can be a good thing. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm in a meeting and someone's kid pops up or dog or anything really, it's a nice reminder that we're all human. We're all at work, but at home at the same time. Same goes for personal brand. I mentioned that the first word is personal. Bring a little bit of you or a lot of bit of you into your brand. Let people know what you're all about, what you care about, what gets you excited. This is the thing that we relate to because that is the human element. We don't relate to bullet points on a LinkedIn that tout, all of your key successes. We relate to the reasons that you wake up each morning energized for work, or the story that you share on your profile about how you found your calling. Those are the things that stand out to us, not the accolades. The accolades are a means to, or a example of an ends. They're not a means to them. And I always like to say your LinkedIn, your resume will tell me what you do. Your LinkedIn should not only tell me what you do, but tell me why you do it and show me how you do it. It's a multimedia platform. And again, I'm, I guess, previewing some of the content as we get into the LinkedIn platform. Become the go-to resource. I used SME or subject matter expert. You'll find that when you have a strong brand, people will just start coming to you for opportunities, but also for help, for expertise. Maybe all of a sudden you're on a podcast and you didn't expect. Maybe all of a sudden you're speaking at an event like this and you didn't expect it. All of these things I have seen myself come through having a strong personal brand. And finally, attracting opportunities. So I would like for everyone on this session to envision the word opportunity as it relates to you, because it will mean something different to all of us. It could mean a job opportunity. It could mean a speaking opportunity, an investment opportunity, a networking opportunity, a mentorship opportunity. There are so many different variants of opportunity beyond job opportunities. So don't limit yourself to just thinking of it in one way. You will be very surprised the types and genres of opportunities that will come your way in an inbound, natural manner as a result of having a strong brand. And I like this quote as well because when we all work, or most of us all work for companies, right? As I mentioned, I work for Cisco in the IoT division, and we're living, breathing ambassadors of the company that we work for. And so maybe you had a certain perception of Cisco before this, and now your perception of Cisco has started to shift as a result of getting to know me. The same goes for you. When I come across someone online or in person and they happen to work for a certain company, all of a sudden my perception of that company might shift in a very small way or might shift in a very dramatic way as a result. So we are all ambassadors of our place of work. This is another kind of workshop that why I teach at companies, to teach employees how to be online and offline brand ambassadors for their place of work. We all like to engage with a strong professional brand. This is how influencers, for example, are built, because they have a strong presence, they have knowledge, there's something that we're gaining by following them. Okay, so how do we do it? These are the types of questions I would recommend asking yourself. What type of content am I going to be posting? Is it text-based? Is it video? Is it photo? Is it my own content? Or am I sharing third-party links or articles? What are my values? How am I going to get them across? For me, things like kindness, helping, positivity, upbeat. These are the types of words and characteristics that I want to make sure I'm getting across through my online brand and physical in-person brand. And it's important that those two match up as well. Who's your audience? Who are you going after, or who would you like to go after? So maybe today you're reaching a certain demographic or a certain type of audience, but there's actually a different audience that you would like to be moving toward. There's means and ways of doing that through online platforms like LinkedIn. This comes back to objectives. What are you looking to achieve? And what are you most knowledgeable about? So maybe this is better framed as what would you like to be most knowledgeable about, and how can you gain that knowledge through your personal brand and start to attract those people to your network? Or what are you most knowledgeable about? And maybe this is a question you include in your Survey Monkey and you ask people, because again, maybe you're so knowledgeable about a certain topic that you don't realize that that's an area of expertise for you. What tone of voice would you like to use? I'm a very colloquial person. I love pop culture. These are the types of things that I bring into my online voice as well. My offline voice and my online voice are pretty much the same. So I would ask, how do you want to come off? How will you communicate your message? How often will you be posting? What channels are you going to be using? Social media channels or other channels such as email or even internal Slack? Who are you? What's your position in the industry? And then also, where would you like to go? Where would you like to be in your industry? I mentioned that your personal brand is a mix of the actual and the aspirational. So, dream with this and look towards where you would like to go. Okay, so my favorite part of the presentation, I'm going to switch into my own LinkedIn profile. As I mentioned, if you have a LinkedIn profile, regardless of what state it's in, pull it up on your laptop, pull it up on your phone. I would also ask for you to screenshot this and put it, not this slide, but your own LinkedIn profile, and put it in that same Word doc, because we're going to hopefully make some changes in the coming days or even today or the coming weeks. And so unfortunately, LinkedIn doesn't archive your old version. So take a screenshot of your analytics on your LinkedIn page as well as your overall LinkedIn profile. Analytics are more important because I want to see how your analytics change as you start to make these edits to your profile. And just in case you don't know how to get to those analytics, I will show you in the coming demo. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're going to talk about the 5 top most viewed areas of your profile, and I'll show you how to optimize them in real time. All right, let me switch into my screen. Here we are. All right. Okay. All right, so before I get started into this portion, let me just show you really quickly how to look at your analytics and to take a screenshot of them. So on your homepage, if you just click the LinkedIn icon at the top left, click down and go to who has viewed your profile. And then this is what I would like you to take a screenshot of. So you'll see in the last 90 days, how many profile views have you had? How are you doing week over week? And under here, you can also see, what interesting views are you having? Is there some trends? So clearly, a lot of people at my own work are looking at my profile, and then from my previous company as well. So you might want to screenshot these individual ones. You'll notice that I have a typical license of LinkedIn. I don't have the paid for license. And so these analytics are a good baseline. If you want deeper analytics, then the paid profile might be a good option for you to at least trial out. I'll notice, for example, when I see a huge spike, that's always when I speak. If you have spikes, you can actually click on it to see, like how many views is that spike getting you. but this is a good baseline for you to have. Take a screenshot and add it into a Word doc because it will change over time and you won't be able to access the previous analytics. Okay, I'm going to start this section of the presentation with a pet peeve. A pet peeve of mine is when people say that LinkedIn is your online resume. It is not your online resume. It is your personal branding platform. It is your personal website. It is your place to tell me your story and show me what makes you you, what you bring to the table, all of those good things. I mentioned before, I view your resume as the what, and then I view your LinkedIn as not only the what, but the why and the how. And when you start to treat this as a multimedia platform, as a personal branding platform, you will immediately stand out on LinkedIn. The good news here is that many people, many, have the same exact LinkedIn profile. They have that awful blue cover photo that's like the standard. They've got an outdated profile picture. They filled out the basics. It's written in the third party or has bullets up the wazoo. It's a mess. Every single person, well, not every single, but many profiles that I look exactly alike. So I will show you some really easy ways to stand out on this platform, and it's fun as well because it gets into the personal branding aspects. So first and foremost, if you could not tell my hatred of the blue banner, I have your next piece of homework, and it's a fun one and it's an easy one. If you are thinking of yourself as a product, a physical product, right? The first thing you see, or one of the first things you see on a physical product, is the wrapper. I always think of, for whatever reason, a candy bar. You know, maybe you're a kid, you're in the supermarket line checking out with your parents, and you look at the wall of candy, and the first thing you see are all of the packages. Same goes for LinkedIn profiles. The first thing, or one of the first things that you will notice when you go on a LinkedIn profile, is that cover photo, the wrapper. For me, it's a picture of me speaking at the Watermark Conference for Women. Did not mean to click on that. And you'll notice if I go into my Twitter profile, it's exactly the same cover photo. There's a reason for that. I'll get that in 1 second. So your homework here, if you do not have a cover photo, get a cover photo. I have done 50% of the work for you, meaning I have Googled LinkedIn cover. I didn't even write the word cover photo. So I will take that back to 30%. Now I've done the work for you. So this is your Pinterest of sorts. This is your inspo. I want you to Google it, and then you can use, any of these that are free and available for use. Just make sure that they are. But better yet, use these as your inspiration. So as we go down, we see, okay, a city view or an overhead of a desk. Why not make it your own photo? Why not, clean up your space, add a few succulents, get some great lighting, and take an overhead of your own workspace? Or maybe you live in a city and go grab a view of the city skyline, or any of these really are a good example of where to get started. By and large, I would just like for you to have a placeholder for a cover photo, because the cover photo used to be a paid for feature a long time ago, but there's still this connotation that it is a paid for feature. So not only do you gain a little bit of credibility when someone comes on your profile because they think that you have a paid account, immediately you stand out because so many people do not have a cover photo. Over time, I would like for you to evolve your cover photo and make it something that ties into your personal brand. So for me, my personal brand is all about storytelling and energy. And storytelling for me is, in my day job, telling the story of our products, our customers, the huge problems that we're able to solve using our technology. In my side hustle, it's helping people like yourselves tell your story, hone your story. And then I have a number of other side hustles, such as influencer marketing, etc. And that's telling the story of a certain brand or product. The list goes on and on, but that is the centerpiece of my brand. So I have chosen a cover photo that not only shows the storytelling aspect, but it also shows the energy aspect and the ability to ignite that energy in others. That's what my brand's hopefully all about, and hopefully being effective for you during this workshop. The reason that I chose the same exact cover photo for my Twitter is that in branding, consistency is key. When you use the same headshot and the same cover photo, all of a sudden, you start to build brand trust. Think of Instagram. All of the influencers that you love to follow most likely are using a preset on their Instagram images, meaning that it will color and transform the image so that it looks and feels similar from image to image. And then when you go on their grid, there's a really nice aesthetic look and feel. That brings credibility, trust, and a level of professionalism to their brand. The same goes for your online brand. Create consistency on the personal branding platforms that you are using. So for me, for personal branding and for professional branding, I leverage LinkedIn and Twitter. I take a very different approach, for example, with my Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram, because those are not platforms that I am using for my professional brand. The two or one that you are focused on, ensure that that consistency. And I would even encourage you to use the same headshot that you're using for these platforms. Use it on your email, on your business card, in your email signature, on Salesforce, as your Slack avatar. Again, consistency drives a strong brand. And I'm glad we're talking so much about headshot, because I told you I would share with you the 5 most viewed areas of your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn does a study, or at least they used to. I don't know about COVID anymore, but they used to do a study where they would have retina tracking goggles on participants and volunteers, and they would look at, well, where do people look on a LinkedIn profile, and where do they spend the most amount of time? The number 1 most viewed area of your profile, and also the most amount of time spent, is on your headshot or your profile picture. And the reason I look so bummed out about this is because there is a lot of other good information on your profile that is much more important than your headshot. But because this is the reality, what I will do is spend a little bit of time on your headshot. If you are thinking of yourself as a product, your profile picture or headshot is the literal face of your brand. It is your logo. And that's why I encourage you to use that quote unquote logo everywhere possible. But before you do that, take a look at your profile picture. Is it recent? Is it authentic? Is it you as the central point versus having anyone else in the image? It should only be yourself. If you had a photo of you and your friend, but then you cut your friend out and there's like half an arm chilling in the photo, then we got to trash that. We got to get a new one. And if it's, maybe a 5-year-old or longer profile picture, we've got to change that as well. If you've drastically changed your hair or are now always wearing glasses, we need to get an authentic, recent picture. And the qualities of a great headshot are really pretty minimal. Number 1 is go outside. Trust me on this. The lighting, natural lighting, is your best friend when it comes to a professionally shot headshot. Many of us have great smartphones that might have portrait mode on them. Ask your husband, your kid, your friend, the neighbor, whatever, socially distanced, of course, to take a photo of you in portrait mode. It's a really nice blurring effect so that you are the center point. In terms of backgrounds, you want you to be the center point. So pick a neutral background, whether it's a certain colored wall, a fence, foliage, brick works really, really well. And my other piece of advice is just shoot a ton of photos. If you're doing it on a tripod, perfect. Shoot like as many as it takes until you get a profile picture that you feel represents your best self, but your authentic self. If you're not wearing a suit every day to work, which, come on, none of us are right now, then don't have a suit in your profile picture. Come off as approachable, come off as natural. And the same goes for smiling. I know, many people won't smile in their profile picture. Maybe they're going for that author look, but they've done studies and the majority of people prefer a photo where you are smiling. You come off as more approachable, down to earth, kind. The list goes on and on. A picture is worth 1,000 words, and that has never been more true than for your profile picture on LinkedIn. When you go to request someone on LinkedIn, the only thing that they will see is your profile photo, your name, and your title or headline. So let's make sure that our headshot is as well done as we possibly can. I'm going to show you a ninja trick now. I love to do this ninja trick in person at companies because when we have a longer workshop, I'll take volunteers from the audience and I'll pull up their profiles on LinkedIn and I'll optimize them in real time. And what I've found, I I ran a similar workshop at Dell, at Walgreens headquarters, Bristol Myers Squibb, et cetera, et cetera. And when we did this exercise, we found that so many employees had inadvertently set their profile picture to be only viewable by their LinkedIn network. Meaning that if I just Googled for you and I came across your profile, you would not have a headshot. Or if you requested me on LinkedIn, I would not see a headshot there. And if you don't have a headshot, you are 80 times more likely to get rejected as a connection or ignored. So let me show you this really cool ninja trick that you can only do on your laptop. So you won't be able to do it on mobile, unfortunately. So maybe put this as a homework item for tonight or tomorrow when you're on your laptop. But it's a very important one because as we know, the headshot is the #1 most looked at area of your profile and the most amount of time spent. Okay, so here we go. On your profile, I want you to click Edit, Public Profile, and URL right over here on the right. That will open up a separate tab, and this is gold. Why is this gold? This is how your profile appears to someone who is not connected to you, aka someone that found you on Google or someone who is not in your network. If your profile is private, your profile photo, you are going to see a gray circle here. And you're going to get freaked out at first because you're going to say to yourself, what? I have a profile picture. You are hiding it only to those or making it available only to those in your network. And I will show you how to do this. The other reason this is gold is because now you can see exactly what others are seeing when they come to your profile. What is able to be accessed? The summary, they can see my activity, etc., all of the individual roles. This is a great way to understand that perception that you're making online. And then finally, why is this a gold mine? On the right, here's another piece of homework for you. This is where you can customize your URL, aka, what comes up in the bar when you're on someone's profile. Many of you may have not customized this, and it will be a series of numbers and words that is doing absolutely nothing for your search engine optimization of your page. Please go in as soon as possible and claim your name. I say ASAP because someone else may have your name. And if they do, that's not really a huge deal. You can do things like a hyphen. I would recommend even a period or an underscore, whatever it takes. But by having your name in there, now when someone Googles your name, your LinkedIn profile is very likely to pop up because the SEO of your name, the search engine optimization of your name is baked into the metadata of the profile. The other great thing about having your name in your URL is that you can take that URL and put it everywhere. In your email signature, I have mine in my LinkedIn, in my Twitter bio. I have it in my Salesforce profile. I have it everywhere. Why? Go back to the example of thinking of yourself as a product, and then think about if you were going to have a physical store for your product or even an online store for your product. The goal that you're going to have for those stores is to get as much traffic as possible to them, whether it's foot traffic or whether it's online traffic, because the more people you get to your website or to your store, the more people are going to buy. You're going to have a higher propensity to buy. The same goes for your profile. The more views that you're getting, the more people that are coming to your profile, the more opportunities you will have. And again, that word opportunity means something very different to all of us. So frame it in the way that makes sense for you. So make it easy for people to find you. Put that URL. I run a large team at Cisco, and whenever I'm hiring for a position, sometimes I bypass the resume entirely. I can glean so much more information from someone's LinkedIn profile than I can from a PDF or a piece of paper. I can see them. I can potentially hear them if they've uploaded a video or a podcast. I can see their work. I can see recommendations of their work. I can see how they recommend others. It is an incredibly powerful tool, but only if we make it so. Moving on, I want to get back to that very important element of knowing if your profile picture is set to private. Under here is where you would customize anything and everything about what is viewable on your profile. A best practice is to keep it as open as possible. LinkedIn is a largely professional platform. You should not be sharing or putting anything on there that would not be okay in a public forum. You can use the grandmother rule. Don't put anything on your profile that your grandmother would be ashamed of or be confused about. Make it as approachable and transparent as possible. Under here is the key, profile photo. So a lot of those employees I mentioned had set their profile photo to only their network. Many of you might have yours set to all LinkedIn members. What I would encourage you to do ASAP is to change it to public, because as I mentioned, now not only are you showing up on LinkedIn, but you're showing up in search results as well. And the same holds true for your profile photo. So that means when I go to Google your name and I go over to the images tab, your LinkedIn profile photo will be showing there, which is great because again, you're controlling the image literally that you're pushing out on social media and on the web. And then here's another aspect that I like as well. If you have a website or even your online resume, you can create a badge instantly through LinkedIn, which is really helpful as well. You can embed it, you can put it into your physical resume, etc. Again, I think it's a much more powerful way for me to evaluate a candidate is to go on their LinkedIn profile versus their resume. Okay, so we've covered off on 1 of 5 of the most viewed areas of your profile. A reminder, because I cannot see questions, if you are coming up with questions as we go through this, make sure that you're popping them into the Q&A section so that we can make sure that we answer those as well. And again, if you're finding something of value or are shy and want to ask a question through Twitter, my handle's @Amanda_Healy. Okay, number 2, most viewed area of your profile is your headline. So this will default to whatever your current title is. You will notice that mine is not defaulting to my current title because people do not realize this is a totally editable field, and it's a very powerful field from a search perspective. So here's your next piece of homework, and this is a little bit longer or more intensive, I would say, than some of them, such as cover photo. Think of yourself as a product again. And you are having your own website and you need to, show up for certain terms when people are searching. What are the 10 to 15 keywords that you want to associate your personal brand with? For me, those are IoT, marketing, keynote, social media, and branding. And I'll probably update this to include a component of campaigns or lead gen, etc. So anyways, come up with 10 to 15 keywords and write them down on a piece of paper. And then maybe that's just one of your homework items for next week. Then you're done and that's it. And then the following day, take that list of keywords and create 4 different headlines using those keywords. So maybe you switch the end part to go at the beginning. Maybe instead of lead generation, you're using the word demand generation, whatever those variations may be. And then I want you to start to run a test. So pick a day of the week, any day, any time, but make sure you write down what day and time that is. And before you do any of this, again, take a screenshot of your analytics so that you know what your baseline is. So say you pick Monday at 2. Next Monday at 2, you're going to change your headline to the first of the 4 different ones that you came up with. And you're going to set it and forget it and leave it be over the course of the next week. By Monday, the next week, close to 2, take a screenshot of your analytics. How are your profile views changing, remaining the same? What kind of requests are coming in for connections? Any of the, KPIs or key performance indicators that you can establish from your profile. And then Monday at 2 comes around, you swap in headline number 2, set it and forget it, and then again, monitor those analytics. Over the course of 4 weeks or a month, you will know which one is your best performing headline, and then you can use that one as your go-to headline. You can also do this over any time frame. I mean, you could do it over the course of 4 days if you really wanted to. You could do it over the course of 4 months to see how that data ebbs and flows. But it's a good, I call it Amanda Healy science. It's very fuzzy science, but it's a good way for us to understand what is resonating with our target audience. That list of keywords, by the way, is going to come in very, very handy as we go through the rest of the top 5 most viewed areas of your profile. On the headline, make it value added. What are people going to gain by connecting with you? What's interesting about your profile? When you go to connect with someone, as I mentioned, the only thing they will see is your name, your headline, and your photo. So instead of putting something like sales territory manager for North America, why not use something a bit more compelling, such as I help companies realize the value of AI in their search bar. This is a real world example. I was teaching a social selling class for a tech company in Boston. And so now that person is not only getting the lift out of a very highly searched term, AI, but it's also very compelling and interesting. Okay, I do have a company. We're not really leveraging our search on our website all that well. I wonder how we could be using machine learning or artificial intelligence to augment that. And maybe I will go and check out their profile and read more. Your headline is your hook. It's your way to at least compel someone to click on your name and look at your profile, if not accept your connection request. So it's a very important area. Again, the second most viewed one of your entire profile. So moving down, the third most viewed area of your profile is going to be the biggest amount of homework. So what I would recommend is to start thinking about it now. I mentioned that your resume tells me what you do, and your LinkedIn tells me what you do and why you do it and how you do it. This is what your summary is all about. I've given you a lot of scenarios to imagine in your head, and I'd like for you to imagine another one. It is post-pandemic. We are sitting at a great coffee shop across from each other, or a great bar across from each other. And I say to you, tell me about yourself. What would you say? You would not say, I'm a seasoned veteran marketer. I have XYZ years of experience. My skills include yada, yada, and yada. No, you would tell me where you've been and who you are and where you're going. You would tell me a story. You would tell me about your passions or what makes you you. Take this same approach to your summary. We can scroll down and see where you work and all of the cool things that you're doing there and the huge accomplishments that you have. But what's more interesting is understanding the why versus the what. How did you get into this industry? What makes you excited about it? Where are you going with this? Or what are some cool things that you've done that have shaped you into who you've been? Or what's going on in your personal life that really makes you who you are now? You know, an example for me would be speaking. You know, speaking makes me a much better marketer, and marketing makes me a much better speaker. The central thread, storytelling. So this is where you pull that central thread out. And for some people, it'll be easier than others. Maybe you have very disparate personal and professional lives, and you have to really have an introspective exercise to understand what that is. But again, go back to that 360-degree survey. There's going to be a strength in there, and maybe that's what you base your summary off of. You know, energy is a powerful thing. You know, people say that I bring a certain energy to this, this, and this. This is just a hypothetical off the top of my head, but I actually will rewrite my summary shortly to talk about more storytelling. The good news is my current summary actually tells a story. I talk about how my first gig was at a lemonade stand, and I'm the same quote unquote kid as I was back then. I've got an appetite for, you know, getting the recipe right, putting the customer first, and helping them, you know, improve their day, their life, whatever. You know, that's the same that goes for me in my job today. You know, the energy, the attitude, the commitment to helping others, and that's what I'm all about. So I'm going to evolve this over time, and you should too as well. Your LinkedIn profile is a living, breathing embodiment of your work and your life. And so what's nice about LinkedIn is if I had to create a resume tomorrow, I wouldn't start with my actual resume. I would start with my LinkedIn. As soon as something happens or there's a change, you can very easily update your LinkedIn to reflect that. So in your summary, go back to that list of 10 to 15 keywords and make sure they're sprinkled throughout your summary. The more times you use the exact same keyword, the more that the LinkedIn algorithm will associate your profile with that particular term. So for example, if I'm using the term social media throughout my entire profile, not only will I show up in the LinkedIn search bar when people are searching for social media expertise, but I'll even show up on Google because my profile will be so intrinsically linked to that particular keyword. So again, if you're just thinking of your LinkedIn as your online resume, it is so far beyond that. There is so much opportunity for searchability, for opportunities that you did not even expect to have as a result of this platform. And there are very simple ways, such as what I just mentioned with your summary, to drive up the searchability of your profile. I also talked about how your summary can show me how you do something. So underneath your About section, you're going to see your section on media. So this is where I'd like you to bring it to life for me. Share, you know, a webinar that you were speaking on, or a white paper that you worked on, or your blog, or you can even link to your Twitter account and it will pull up a thumbnail there. If you're at a loss for what type of media to share, I'm absolutely certain that your company is producing media. So maybe you grab a customer case study to share there, or Maybe there's a corporate video that you'd like to share there, but add something to take your profile to the next media level. There's so many ways for you to showcase your personal brand in this way as well. As an ultra homework item, which is, again, beyond optional, but also beyond powerful, I would challenge you all to create a 20-second or so about me video. Again, picture us at coffee or at the bar having a drink, and I ask you to tell me about yourself. Film that. You know, hey, I'm Amanda. By day, I run IoT brand marketing and digital marketing. And by night, so to speak, I am a public speaker and a content creator and an influencer. And the thing that I love about all of my jobs is, you know, X, Y, Z. So keep it short, keep it snappy. But now all of a sudden I can see you, literally. I can hear you. I can kind of start to understand who you are and what you're all about. And immediately you become much more memorable because you're no longer a name on paper or a name on a website. You're a person. The people who have taken me up on this, it is outrageous the results that they've had. I'm talking about job opportunities, people coming to them and thinking they're video experts, opportunities to be interviewed. The list goes on, and interviewed for like a publication or a news outlet or an article. It's been incredible. I love hearing those stories. If you yourself end up having one, please let me know. I love, love, love hearing them. People that have been out of work for like months and months and months, all of a sudden getting all these interviews and landing a job. It's just crazy because it's such a unique way to tell your story, and it just takes you to the next level beyond any other candidate or connection. So a few pieces of advice, if you do go that route, film it horizontally, because most of us will look at, or many of us will look at LinkedIn on our laptop. Post it on YouTube and then link it to LinkedIn, because the analytics on YouTube are a lot deeper than the analytics that you will get through LinkedIn. And YouTube also has really great searchability as well. If you have more questions on that, just let me know. We only have 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure we get into our fourth most viewed area of your profile, and is a very surprising one. It is your skills and endorsements. So you'll notice that you can only see 3, but I have, I think, like 30 or so listed. So first step here, take a notice of what 3 skills are showing up for you. Again, a lot of people don't realize you can completely customize this. So click the, oh, I'm sorry, I'll show you greater depth. Click the pencil icon and you'll see what 3 are pinned at the top. It will default to your most endorsed ones, but you can change that. So for example, I will likely add in demand generation. And so maybe I will unpin this, and then I'll add the demand generation. I'll show you how to do that. And then I would pull it up, and actually I already have it here. So perfect. I pin it here, and then maybe I want it to be the top one. So then I would change it to here, and I'll actually just go ahead and save this. You can trash your skills. I don't recommend it because once they're gone, all the people who have endorsed you for that skill are also gone. So instead, you can add up to 30. You're not penalized for doing so. And to add those, you would go into add new skill. It will suggest skills for you, or you can start typing a skill and it will start to pull up ones here. And then from there, you would, click add, and then you would change it to go wherever you want it to showcase. In order to get more skills or to get endorsed for more skills, I would recommend you start endorsing others. That will trigger an algorithm where all of a sudden your network will start seeing you on their homepage, and it will say, does Amanda know about demand generation? Yes, no, ignore. You can also trade skills. So I've had people come to me and said, hey, could you endorse me for this, this, and this? And I'd be happy to endorse you for that, that, and that. And as long as I feel comfortable, I've worked with that person, I've seen that skill in action, I'll usually go ahead and do it. Just note that your literal face, as you can see, down here, you will see your face next to that person. So by endorsing them, you're putting your own brand on the line, which is fine so long as it's valid. On that same thread, the final most viewed area of your profile is what I call the Yelp of your profile. And you'll notice that you can only see 2 of the recommendations. Again, you can click show more, but in general, most people will just read those top 2. So how do we change those or edit them? You would click the pencil icon again. And then here, this is the one really nice part about LinkedIn. They do archive these for you. So you can toggle on and off given what you want to show people. So you'll notice I have, I don't know, I think like So down here, hidden recommendations, 28. I had something like 40 whatever recommendations, and no one will ever read those. So instead of, deleting them, I'm able to hide them. So in case at a certain point in my career comes that I need that recommendation, or it's more suited to something that a role I'm interviewing for, I can go ahead and bring that back. Another important thing about recommendations, I always look at what recommendations people give to others. And you don't have to, give 45, but at least provide recommendations to a few people, because now I can get a sense for how you see value in others and how you communicate value, as well as how you write. It's just a really great place for me, again, as a hiring manager, to understand you better and try to see things through your own eyes. We are super tight on time, unfortunately. So I do want to show you one final thing. I've showed you the five most viewed pieces of your profile. I also mentioned to you that I help people write their LinkedIn profile. So if you've gone through some of these homework items and you are just really struggling, or can't find your voice, or can't center in on your strength, I have an amazing partner. They're called Bright Eyes Creative. And if you type in level up your LinkedIn and my name, Amanda Healy, you'll know you come to the right place, because I have a huge photo. I promise you I did not make the photo this huge. My partner did, but that's fine. And you'll come to this very short form, and you just fill this out. And then from there, we interview you. We get a sense of your voice, your goals, your objectives, and we help write your LinkedIn profile. So if this is something of interest, type in level up your LinkedIn and then my name, Amanda Healy, and that will pop up. Now I'm going to stop sharing and see if I can take a few questions in the 5 minutes that we have remaining. Again, you can always tweet me or email me for needs as well. All right, let me see how I can get to the questions. Okay. Oh, can you please repeat the questions for your personal brand survey? Sure. Number one, what is the first word you think of when you hear my name? Number two, what makes me unique and how do I stand out among others? I would ask, what am I most knowledgeable about? And then I would also ask, how do you know me? Friend, family, colleague, any other kind of scenario that someone would know you. And then let them know it's anonymous, and let them know it's only going to take them 30 seconds or so. Should your Facebook profile and cover picture match LinkedIn? I actually don't think it matters, unless you're using your Facebook as a branding platform in a professional way. So for me, my Facebook is literally my friends, family, and that's it. It's private. I don't really even post there all that often. It's not a means for me to build my brand in a meaningful way. So I double down on Twitter and LinkedIn for that. But if Facebook is a big platform for you, and maybe you have a business page on Facebook, then you should absolutely use that as a personal branding platform, and then create consistency again through that profile picture and through that cover photo. If you can't post examples of your work, I love the idea of doing the About Me video. And so while you won't be able to speak specifically to your work, you can speak specifically to yourself. What value do you bring? What ignites you? What excites you? Maybe what do you do in your personal life that makes you who you are as a professional? So it's totally fine that you can't post examples of your work. I think you're better off to err on the side of caution. Always make sure that those pieces are publicly available through your company. And if they're not, focus on your own pieces in your own brand and your own content. How long should the about section or summary be? Keep it short and snappy. Mine is much too long, and that's one of the reasons that I'll be editing it down. Things that stand out are numbers and bullets. So what I would recommend, and I've done this on my own summary, quick little opener, a few bullets or takeaways, but here's the kicker. At the end, put a CTA, a call to action. What action do you want people to take? You could say something like, connect with me if, or you could say something for speaking and social media inquiries, contact me at, whatever that next action that you want the person to take. How can we create a LinkedIn profile for a general account executive title to be used to manage a company page and interact with clients? I think that sounds like a very, very specific question. So if you're using it as a company figure, I would make sure that that company is in the headline, if you're tying it back to that company page, but I would also create it as a value add. You don't want a header to be, or your header to be too long, but you also want to tie it back to that. So I would For better or worse, sometimes when we think of companies, we actually think of their founders or CEOs equally as much as we think of the company. So an example would be Tesla, right? We think of Elon. He is the living, walking, talking brand of Tesla. And this is a good thing. We should elevate our leaders and our luminaries as the faces and the personalities of our brand. So I think that you can do this using a platform like LinkedIn. What's an appropriate way to request recommendations if you don't have any? Great question. Use me as an excuse, quote unquote. Say, hey, I just attended this personal branding workshop. The instructor recommended that we have at least one recommendation per role. I would be honored if you would write one for me, but make it easy for them. Tell them exactly what you're looking for. Hey, maybe you could reference this project where I did X, Y, and Z. Make it super prescriptive. So then you'll be happy with the result, but you also are giving them a leg up to, or a place to jump off of. Maybe there's certain things from your list of keywords that you want them to mention, but definitely use me as an excuse and then make it as easy for them as possible. You can also offer to write one in return. That works really well. All right, so luckily we got to all of the questions, which I'm really excited about. So that doesn't often happen, and we're right at the end of our time, but it's been such a pleasure. I hope that this was valuable for you. Chunk it up into little snack-sized pieces. Give yourself that grace, 15 minutes a day. Make it work for your schedule, and tell me about the successes that you see. Tell me about the changes that you see. Twitter is the best way to reach me. My LinkedIn is so beyond backed up. You don't even want to know, but email's good to amanda.healy37@gmail.com. If you need a speaker for your group, if you need a speaker for your virtual event, I do webinars, I do podcasts, I do all the things. Get at me, reach out to me through email or Twitter. And thank you guys so much. I hope that you're well, and I hope you'll stay well, and I hope you'll work on your personal brand.